Welcome back to this new edition of News Today. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. The Prime Minister granted certificates to 30,000 Krishi Sakhis. Second meeting of US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology held in New Delhi. Supreme Court to organize special Lok Adalat on 75th year of its establishment for dispute settlement. Centre introduced Offshore Areas Existence of Mineral Resources Rules 2024. The Post Office Act 2023 comes into effect. Chief of Defence Staff released India's first joint doctrine for cyberspace operations. In our first news, the Prime Minister has granted certificates to 30,000 Krishi Sakhis, acknowledging their vital role in grassroots agriculture development. Let's delve into the details of this inspiring initiative. Krishi Sakhis are participating farmers and trained para-extension professionals who work at the grassroots level in agriculture. These certificates were awarded under the Krishi Sakhi Convergence Program. This program is a collaborative initiative between the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare and the Ministry of Rural Development, aiming to enhance the skills of rural women. The KSCP aligns with the objectives of the Lakpati Didi program, which seeks to catalyze economic empowerment and financial independence among women in rural areas. Now let's talk about the role of women in the agriculture sector. According to Niti Aayog, agriculture employs about 80% of rural women. The percentage of female operational holdings has increased from 12.78% during 2010-11 to 13.78% during 2015-16. Women are responsible for producing 60 to 80% of the country's food and have significantly increased their contribution to GDP per capita. Their leadership in agriculture is crucial for tackling gender inequality. However, women in agriculture face several challenges. These include limited access to credit in markets, lack of inheritance of land in many societies, and a lack of information. To address these challenges, the government has implemented several schemes. Mahila Kisan Sashaktikaran Pariyojana aims to empower women by making systematic investments to enhance their participation and productivity. Next, Namo Drone Didi provides training to women of selected women self-help groups on drones for rental services to farmers for agricultural purposes. And lastly, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi provides financial assistance to land-holding farmers, benefiting many women farmers. In conclusion, the certification of 30,000 Krishi Sakhis underlines the significant strides being made towards empowering women in agriculture. In our next news, we turn our attention to the recent second meeting of the US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology in New Delhi. This initiative, led by the Indian National Security Council Secretariat and the US National Security Council, was launched in 2023 and aims to foster cooperation in critical and emerging technologies across various sectors. Now let's delve into the key highlights from this significant meeting. In a major boost for innovation, the US and India have committed to unlocking over $90 million in government funding over the next 5 years. This funding aims to support the US-India Global Challenges Institute, fostering research partnerships in areas such as semiconductor technology and sustainable agriculture. In the realm of space technology, both nations have agreed to several exciting initiatives. One notable project is the launch of the NASA-ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar, a jointly developed satellite that will map the Earth's surface twice every 12 days, contributing to climate change mitigation efforts. Additionally, there are plans to explore opportunities for India to participate in the Lunar Gateway program, a collaborative effort led by the US to build a space station around the moon as part of the Artemis program. Moving on to telecommunications, the partnership aims to deploy cost-effective open radio access network technology and strengthen cooperation in 6G technologies, paving the way for the future of global communications. In biotechnology, the two countries are developing a joint strategic framework to optimize and strengthen the global biopharmaceutical supply chain. They also announced the launch of BioX initiative, designed to promote cooperation in biotechnology and enhance the competitiveness of biotechnology industries. On the clean energy front, the partnership is enhancing mineral security through co-investment in lithium resource projects in South America and rare earth deposits in Africa, which are crucial for sustainable energy solutions. The significance of critical and emerging technology cannot be overstated. These technologies are vital for India's growing role as a trusted supply chain partner and contributor to the global technology value chain. It addresses disruptive domains central to the next industrial revolution and future warfare, and it opens new markets for India's deep technology players. In conclusion, the second meeting of the US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology marks a significant step forward in strengthening the technological partnership between the two nations.
Ahead in the news, in a significant milestone, the Supreme Court has organized a special Lok Adalat to commemorate its 75th year of establishment. This event underscores the vital role that Lok Adalats play in the judicial landscape of India as a cornerstone of the alternative dispute redressal mechanisms. Let us first understand what are these Lok Adalats or people courts. They hold a statutory status under the Legal Services Authorities Act of 1987. In the year 2002, the Act was amended to establish permanent Lok Adalats, specifically for public utility services guided by the principles of natural justice. Notably, Lok Adalats are not bound by the Code of Civil Procedure of 1908 or the Indian Evidence Act of 1872. Despite this, they possess the same powers as a civil court under the Code of Civil Procedure. Decisions made by Lok Adalats are final and binding, with no appeals permissible against their rulings. Cases referred to Lok Adalats include those pending before any court or disputes not yet filed in a court but likely to be. The type of cases they undertake are diverse, ranging from matrimonial disputes and property disputes to motor accident claims and land acquisition issues. The first Lok Adalat was held in 1982 in Junagadh, Gujarat. The significance of Lok Adalats cannot be overstated. They provide a platform for the quick settlement of conflicts, making justice more accessible and economical. There is no court fee for filing disputes in Lok Adalats, and they significantly help in reducing the judiciary's burden of pending cases. Besides Lok Adalats, other major ADRMs in India include arbitration, mediation, and conciliation. Arbitration is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the decision is binding. Mediation involves decision-making on a voluntary and consensual basis. Conciliation, where a conciliator assists the parties to reach a mutually agreed settlement, is non-binding. In conclusion, as we celebrate this special occasion, it is essential to recognize the pivotal role that these mechanisms play in ensuring access to justice for all, streamlining judicial processes, and fostering a culture of amicable dispute resolution.
In our next news, the Centre has introduced the Offshore Areas Existence of Mineral Resources Rules 2024. This new framework marks a significant step towards the development and regulation of offshore mineral resources in India's maritime zones. Let's dive into the details. First, let's talk about the rules themselves. The Offshore Areas Mineral Development and Regulation Act 2002 empowers the central government to introduce these regulations. The new rules apply only to all minerals except for mineral oils and hydrocarbons and those specified in Part B of the first schedule to the Mines and Minerals Development Regulation Act 1957. The rules comprehensively cover various stages of exploration, feasibility studies, economic viability assessments, and the classification of mineral resources and reserves. Now on to offshore mining. This process involves retrieving mineral deposits from the deep seabed at depths greater than 200 meters. Offshore mining is particularly significant for India for several reasons. India's offshore mineral reserves are rich in valuable resources like gold, diamond, copper, nickel, cobalt, manganese, and rare earth elements which are essential for development. The country's exclusive economic zone spans over 2 million square kilometers and holds substantial recoverable resources. Offshore mining is expected to enhance mineral availability and reduce dependence on imports, thereby boosting the economy. However, there are challenges to consider. These include a lack of private participation, the need for highly skilled labor, and the requirement for significant capital investment. Let's also explore the types of resources that can be mined from the deep sea. Polymetallic nodules are small potato-shaped lumps of minerals found on the seabed. They contain high concentrations of metals like manganese and iron, making them highly valuable. Next, we have seafloor massive sulfides. These deposits form around hydrothermal vents and are rich in metals such as copper, gold, silver, and zinc. Lastly, cobalt-rich ferromanganese crusts are crust-like deposits found on seamounts and other underwater mountains. These crusts contain valuable minerals that are crucial for various industrial applications. In conclusion, the introduction of the Offshore Areas Existence of Mineral Resources Rules 2024 marks a significant advancement in India's efforts to harness its vast offshore mineral resources.
Moving on to the next news. In a significant movement in the history of India's postal services, the Post Office Act 2023 comes into effect, repealing the century-old Indian Post Office Act of 1898. The Post Office Act 2023 introduces several key provisions that will shape the future of postal services in India. At the helm of India Post will be the Director General of Postal Services, who will be appointed to oversee operations. The DGPS will possess the authority to make regulations on various matters, including charges for services and the supply and sale of postage stamps. One of the significant powers granted by the new Act is the authority to intercept postal articles on specified grounds. The government can intercept articles transmitted through India Post for reasons such as the security of the state, maintaining friendly relations with foreign states, public order, emergency situations, or public safety. The Act also includes exemptions from liability for Post Office. Under this provision, the Post Office will not incur any liability regarding its services, except where specific liability is prescribed for a particular service. Importantly, the Act does not prescribe any penal provisions, emphasizing a more service-oriented approach rather than the punitive measures. The primary objective of the Post Office Act 2023 is to create a simple legislative framework that facilitates the delivery of citizen-centric services, banking services, and government scheme benefit right to the last mile. This focus on accessibility and efficiency will enhance the ease of doing business and ease of living for millions of Indians. To understand the significance of this transformation, let us briefly reflect on the history of the postal system during the British era. The East India Company opened its first post office in 1727. Recognizing the importance of a national postal system, Lord Dalhousie established the Indian Post Offices as a separate organization of national importance. The present site of the General Post Office in Kolkata, an iconic symbol of India's postal history, was once the site of the first Fort William. As we transition from the legacy of the Indian Post Office Act of 1898 to the Progressive Post Office Act of 2023, we acknowledge the vital role that India Post has played and will continue to play in the socio-economic fabric of our nation. In our next news, the Chief of Defence Staff has released India's first joint doctrine for cyberspace operations. This landmark document, unveiled during the Chiefs of Staff Committee meeting, underscores the critical importance of understanding and integrating cyberspace operations into our military strategy. In today's world, cyberspace has emerged as a crucial domain of modern warfare, joining the traditional domains of land, sea, and air. The increasing threats in cyberspace, ranging from attacks on our economy to threats against our national cohesion and political decision-making, necessitate a robust and coordinated approach to defend against hostile actions. Let us now understand the significance of the Joint Doctrine for Cyberspace Operations. It provides essential conceptual guidance to commanders of our armed forces, their staff, and practitioners involved in planning and conducting cyberspace operations. This doctrine is a significant step towards promoting jointness and integration among the three services: the Army, Navy, and Air Force. By fostering a unified approach, we can ensure that our cyberspace operations are seamlessly integrated with our national security strategies, enhancing our ability to achieve strategic goals, employ effective methods, and allocate resources efficiently across all areas of operation and through all forms of power. Cyberspace warfare represents a serious threat to national security, defined as cyber attacks by state or non-state actors that pose a significant threat to a nation's security or are conducted in response to perceived threats. Cyber warfare can disable official websites and networks, disrupt or disable essential services, steal or alter classified data, and cripple financial systems. The ecosystem of cyber warfare includes cyber terrorism, cyber fraud, cyber spying, and cyber stalking, each posing unique challenges to our national defense. Let us also understand in detail about the Chief of Defence Staff. This position marks a pivotal evolution in India's defence structure. The Chief of Defence Staff is a 4-star general who heads the newly formed Department of Military Affairs within the Ministry of Defence and function as its secretary. As the permanent chairman of the Chief of Staff Committee, the CDS is a member of the Defence Acquisition Council, chaired by the Ministry of Defence, and the Defence Planning Committee, chaired by the National Security Advisor. The CDS serves as the principal military advisor to the Ministry of Defence on all tri-services matters and as the military advisor to the Nuclear Command Authority. It is important to note that while the CDS holds these critical advisory roles, they do not exercise direct military command over the three service chiefs. As we move forward, the Joint Doctrine for Cyberspace Operations will be instrumental in safeguarding our nation against the multifaceted threats posed by cyber warfare. It will empower our military to act decisively and effectively in the digital domain, protecting our national interest and securing our future. The place in news for today is Thailand with its capital Bangkok. It is in news as Thailand's Senate has approved a bill to legalize same-sex marriage. If we talk about its political features, then it is located in center of mainland Southeast Asia. It shares its land borders with Myanmar to its northwest, Cambodia to its east, Laos to its northeast, and Malaysia to its south. Its water bodies include Andaman Sea and the Gulf of Thailand. Talking about its geographical features, its highest mountain is the Dui in Thanon. Its major rivers are Mekong, Chao Phraya, and more. Its climate is usually tropical monsoon. Its natural resources include tin, rubber, natural gas, tungsten, tantalum, timber, and more.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. For 18th Lok Sabha, a pro tem speaker will be chosen to swear in the new members of parliament. The office of the speaker becomes vacant immediately before the first meeting of the new Lok Sabha. 9 of Indian ports have found their position among top 100 global ports in the Container Port Performance Index or CPPI in 2023. CPPI 2023 is developed by the World Bank and S&P Global Market Intelligence. The index is a comparable assessment of performance based on vessel time in port. The Confederation of Indian Industry suggested the removal of the angel tax. Angel tax was first introduced in 2012 under Income Tax Act 1961. It helps in curbing money laundering and make it easier for businesses to comply with tax norms. The National Financial Reporting Authority is planning to increase the number of audit firms it inspects annually. NFRA was constituted in 2018 by Government of India under Section 132 Clause 1 of Companies Act 2013. Its objective is to continuously improve the quality of all corporate financial reporting in India. The Ministry of Defence has issued a request for proposal to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited for procurement of 156 LCH. Light Combat Helicopter is the first indigenous multi-role combat helicopter designed and manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. It is capable of firing air-to-ground and air-to-air missiles. Fire in Kuwait that killed 49 people raised questions about the kafala system. The kafala sponsorship system emerged in the 1950s to regulate the relationship between employers and migrant workers in many countries in West Asia. World Sickle Cell Day 2024 is being celebrated on 19th June. Theme for 2024 is Hope Through Progress, Advancing Care Globally. Sickle cell disease refers to a group of inherited blood disorders wherein a genetic mutation causes abnormal hemoglobin to clump together. Recently, a tech millionaire was reported to have gone under gene therapy to edit his DNA. Gene therapy is a technique that modifies a person's genes to treat or cure diseases such as cancer and genetic disorders. Before we wrap up today's bulletin, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this edition of News Today. For the solutions to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.